Hey everyone, it's Alexis. I hope you are all doing well today. I am going to be doing a fun little project using our April craft box, which is also known as the Summer Florals Craft Box. It is still available on our website, but not for much longer. It is dwindling down, we'll say. But I am going to go through everything that comes in this monthly box. We have some really nice exclusive items to this one, and we have a special code for some embossing powders, and I will explain why as soon as I start to go through them. If you haven't seen the video I did a couple weeks ago introducing this box, I would recommend you checking that out. I go through the products there as well, but I have a lot of different project inspiration that you'll maybe want to reference for cards. Today I'm going to be doing a scrapbooking make, so if you're into memory keeping or you want to do some home decor, then this is the one for you. But it's also got some little tips and tricks that I like to point out when we have florals in a craft box, and ways that you can actually utilize the paper that comes with it and how you can prep ahead of time for makes that you will do eventually. So you'll understand what I'm saying in just a minute. I'm going to switch my camera real quick to an overhead so I can go through everything that's in the box and then talk you through what we're going to be doing in today's make. Okay, so let's dive into what comes in this particular craft box. So I want to go through the surfaces first over here, because those are typically the base items that you're always going to get in one of our monthly subscription boxes. And in this particular one, we have 5 sheets of this lovely cream cardstock, or ivory cardstock, but it is like a cream tone. Really nice, sturdy for card bases, or if you just need a nice neutral. Obviously, these are very vibrant tones, so having a nice neutral in there really kind of softens it a bit. You also are going to get 10 sheets, sorry, I was thinking of a different number, of our rose gold opulent cardstock, and it comes in 5 different textures. So you're going to get 2 of each texture. So there's the glitter, the matte, the brushed metal, the mirror, and the pearl. And these are really lovely, I thought, complements to the mystical cardstock, which is you're going to get 1 of each color in the mystical card pack. So you've got some really nice spring bright florals for summer as well, with these 3 different pink tones, 3 different purple tones. You've got some greenery in here, and then you've got a white and a gray for your neutrals. What I really like about these particular tones of pink and purple is they're very monochromatic, so you can do some really fun stuff with monochromatic looks using these. So those are your cardstock bases, everything you'll need to make your scrapbook pages or your cards, journaling kind of things, paper crafts, it's all there. Then you're going to need stuff to adhere everything, and so we've included our permanent adhesive roller. This is a double-sided tape runner, so it is not refillable. We just like to give you samples, not samples, we like to give you full sizes of these when the craft box, so you always have something to make with. Then you're going to need some card bases, of course. You're going to get a pack of the ballet slipper card and envelope packs that we have. There are 10 cards and envelopes in each pack, and these are great. The actual card bases are really nice and sturdy. They're probably one of my favorites. They're 111 pounds, or about 300 GSM. You get 10 of those, and then you get some really lightweight envelopes that are matching. It's not often that you get cards and envelopes that match, which is really nice, but these are sized perfectly to work with the floral and the stamp set. So I've included those in there as well, in case you just want to use all your cardstock for all your die cuts. So I want to talk about these items before I talk about these 2 items. Now, in the pack, you're going to get a chapter 2 die, which is Pass the Bouquet by Olivia Rose. This is a really stunning set, and it's probably one of my favorites that we've come out with this year. You get a lot of different shapes, which is really nice, and you get this little hand, which is really cool. So you get 12 dies in there, but you can do a lot with those 12 dies. And like I said earlier, go ahead and check out the other video I did a couple weeks ago. It should be up on all of our socials on YouTube or Facebook, and I've gone and I've made a bunch of different cards, so you can see the versatility of these die sets. Then we've got two exclusive items in this particular box. The first one is the Intricate Heart Thinlit set, also by Olivia Rose. Now this one I have out of the packaging. You can see it's a very decent sized heart. I love how intricate this is. I would definitely recommend, these don't come in the craft box, but I would definitely recommend if you have adhesive sheets on hand, they're a great way to turn an intricate die like this into a sticker. So definitely take advantage of those if you have them. It just makes adhering everything really nice and easy. And then also I would definitely recommend having some of our tools on hand for intricate die cutting, such as the Chrome Precision base plate. It's not necessary always, but if you find that this isn't cutting as well as you would like, that extra little plate will definitely help with the cutting. And then a die brush and a die pick just to help clean everything out easy. Then to complement those two die sets, we have an exclusive stamp set. This one's called Everyday Sentiments, and this one's by Lisa Jones, and it comes with really nice sentiments that are perfect for year-round. Sending love, thank you, best wishes, live life in full bloom, which I've used today, which is why it's not in here, and then hello, sunshine. So perfect sentiments to last you all year round. And with these sentiments, we have also paired in the box our clear embossing ink pad. Now, the clear embossing ink pad is designed to work with heat embossing. You will notice that there is not an embossing powder in this box, and that is because there are too many to choose from, and we didn't want to decide for you. So we want you to have the full choice of selecting from our embossing powder colors rather than us selecting it for you. So what we've done is, if you want to get an embossing powder that you don't have yet, that maybe you've been eyeballing, use when you get this craft box, then go ahead and put the embossing powder into your cart and use the code EMBOSS30, EMBOSS30, and you'll get a discount off of any of the or off an embossing powder so that you can use it with this. I personally am in love with our metallics right now. I think that they are so stunning. So then the last item in here is our pearlescent medium, and this is one of those really unique products that we have. So it might seem a little bit oddball in this particular box, but I actually really like what you can do with this dry brushing it onto a cardstock. So basically, if you took this particular medium and you brushed it across any of your cardstocks, it would turn them into a pearlescent kind of cardstock. You want to do a really light layer. I did this on one of the cards in my last video. It also, if you have any of our acrylic paints, it matches in really well with our acrylic paints and turns any of those into a pearlescent, creamy pearlescent color. And just really, you can do some really nice stuff with this in and of itself with die cuts. Put it on paper and then die cut out. You get a really nice little sheen. I've done it where I've actually like painted with it on top of different cardstocks. So there really is a lot you can do with this, and we have lots of videos on our Sizzix effects that you can check out. But today I wanted to go back to my roots, and my roots are in scrapbooking. I started memory keeping when I was 10 years old, which, just to age myself a little bit, was 27 years ago. So I have been doing scrapbooking and memory keeping for a really long time, and I worked in an independent craft store, scrapbook store, for like 6 years in my late teens, early 20s, and I fell in love with the art of crafting for memory keeping. So what I love about our craft boxes is, yes, they are geared towards card makers and things, paper crafters of that nature, but I personally loved, whenever I get the chance, to be able to use the pieces to do some memory keeping. So what I wanted to do today was show you one of my favorite ways to kind of create a nice layering effect on your scrapbook pages. I'm just looking for some stuff I set off to the side so I can show you what it. I'm not going to do any cutting because I did a lot of cutting leading up to this. You can see I've got a huge pile of die cut flowers here from past the bouquet already. But what I did want to point out is what I did to get all of those. So one of my favorite things to do is to just take a small sliver of the cardstocks that come in these craft boxes and to die cut a ton of shapes. I don't know what I'm gonna do with them. I just like having scraps off to the side. I like cutting out shapes in different colors, putting them in bags. That way, when I go to actually make, then I've got all of these beautiful colors and different shapes to choose from, and I can mix and match to my heart's content. So that's one of my tricks. I just take a look at this tiny little couple inches of paper and look how many different things you can fit on this. There's still room to fit more. But that's one of my favorite things to do. If I'm not quite certain what I feel like doing yet, then I will just cut out a bunch of shapes. But what I have done is I've kind of started to lay out I've got a 12 by 12 layout here because that's the size we kind of typically work with here in the US, but you can obviously scale this down to any size that you want it to be. It doesn't have to be a 12 by 12, it can be an A4 size, it can be 8 by 8, it can be 6 by 6, whatever you want. You can actually tailor this particular layout to work in a journal if you wanted. I'm just going to be using it for the standard size I work with. So I'm going to be taking some of our adhesive that comes in the box, and I'm just going to lay down this panel. Now, I'm keeping this a very plain kind of layout in the sense that I'm not going to be doing any mixed media or any crazy kind of shading on stuff. I want it to be really contemporary to match and let the photo and the floral speak for itself. So I'm just going to lay this down. If you wanted, you could do some mixed media, some color washes if you wanted to on these. That is entirely up to you. I love doing that. It's not what I'm going to do today though. So then I've got a strip of the rose gold that comes in there, and I'm just going to lay this down. And what I'm doing is I'm trying to create some depth and kind of like a different look to my background without it being too busy. So I am choosing to do a bunch of different shapes, kind of more of a geometric way of creating dimension in my background, or so it's not so plain. Like I love color. I think that's why I love this craft box this month so much, because there's lots of vibrant colors. Then I'm gonna put this purple on. This is kind of where I'm starting to build up like where my photo is gonna go, where my sentiment and journaling might go. I chose, because when I saw these flowers, they reminded me of the Hawaiian Islands. I don't know why, but the shapes of the flowers made me think of tropical flowers for some of them. So I am going to be scrapbooking a picture of me and my cousin and my best friend on a trip that we took to Maui about 3 or 4 years ago. I wish we could be back there right now, but we are not. So I am using that as my color inspiration as well. So I found a photo that will work really well, which I have right here. So you can see in the photo, we've got these bright pink florals. We've got florals in our dresses. So what I did is I wanted to just kind of create a layout that I would bring the Hawaiian Islands with me, if you will. So I'm just going to lay this. I'm trying to decide where I want this flower, where I might want my flowers to go. So this is one of my favorite things. I like calling scrapbooking building. So I like to build my pages and play as I go. So not 100% sure where I want this to go yet. So I'm just going to lay this here and then I'll kind of play around with it. I did off camera stamp one of the sentiments, Live Life in Full Bloom, from the Everyday Sentiment stamp set. And then I used the gold embossing powder that we have to bring that sentiment to life. So that'll go somewhere probably around here, which might help me kind of figure out where I want to place my photo, which I think I might want to do this, because I know I want to do my florals in like a row, but I don't want to do it this far over, so I think I'm going to kind of build from here up. I want to create like a waterfall effect. So I'm going to actually place this right here. And I did foam tape just so I could add a little bit of dimension, not in the craft box, but another thing that we carry on our website. And then I'm going to add the sentiment on. And what I did is I stamped this on the smooth side of the white cardstock in the pack, and then I used a corner rounder I had in order to actually just give that a little bit something extra. Okay, so now what I want to do is I've got my kind of my base here. So I've got my layout. I know what I'm working with. And now I know I want these flowers to kind of go up that way. So what I've done is I got a ton of flowers, and on some of them I've already started to sculpt them. What I'm going to do is bring in the multimedia mat that we have. And the reason I'm going to do that is because I'm going to do some gluing, and I want to keep the mess in place. So lovely thing about our multimedia mat is it works both vertically and horizontally. So today I want a little bit of room while I'm making, so I'm going to do mine vertically so that I can keep my page nearby. So what I'm gonna do is add just a little bit of the express glue that I have to the mat, and then I'm going to kind of just tap the flowers in so I don't get too much glue, and place them on the layout. So what I like to do first is kind of lay out where I want everything to go, but I also want to give these flowers a little bit of dimension. So I'm going to be using our paper sculpting kit just for a minute to add a little bit of dimension to some of these flowers. I'm not going to do it on all of them. Some of them I've already started to sculpt. So the ones that I've already done that with, I'm just going to place over to the side. So you can see there are a few where I was like, I'm already going to start. So what I like to do is just take the flower, I like to sculpt from the back first and just use my different stylus tools depending on the size of the flower and just sculpt from there. So I'm going to be definitely sculpting from the back on the larger ones. The smaller ones I tend not to. I tend to just sculpt the front. But I find sculpting from the back gives it a little bit more dimension and nice, realistic kind of shaping. So I'm not going to do it on all of them. I just want a few key pieces. It's nice to have that kind of variation in height. Now, if you want to go full out, by all means, go for it. I encourage it. But I personally don't feel the need to like do it on every single piece. So I'm just picking strategically a couple pieces here and there, just so I have some difference. Now, I know some people are like, well, why would you sculpt if it's got to go in a scrapbook? Not everyone puts their pages in scrapbooks. A lot of people hang them up as home decor or in shadow boxes. So if you're someone that does put them into a book, you don't have to sculpt as much. You can just do a little bit of sculpting, and it still should maintain its shape in your scrapbook. So I've got tons of stuff from like decades ago where the stuff is still dimensional. It just depends on how you store it. Okay, so now we're just going to start laying things out. I'm going to kind of just start by placing flowers wherever I feel like they need to go. I want to change the colors around, make sure that I'm like changing out things, giving space to things. And I usually start by layering in my larger flowers and then placing the smaller ones around them. I like changing where the colors are going to go. Some of these I'll tuck underneath. Some of them will sit on top of each other. It's up to you. This is the magic of kind of like scrapbooking, is you can play as you go. And I like to lay it out and then glue it in place. That's just a personal preference of mine. So I'm going to kind of like lay these out as I go and play around, but you can see I want it to kind of like flow up from here. That's the goal. But I'm just gonna kind of lay things in. You can watch I wish there was like some music I could play while I was doing this. If you have any questions on anything that I'm doing, please feel free to drop them in the comments, and I'm happy to answer them. If you have any ideas of what you want to do with your scrapbook page, or how you plan to use this, I am all ears. I love hearing people's creative minds flow. So there's lots and lots. I'm going to pull a couple over here just to kind of even it out as well. But you'll see, I'm just playing. I don't like have a rhyme or reason when I'm going to put these down. I just love flowers. They make me really happy, and that's one of the biggest components of what kept me in scrapbooking and kept me loving it and bringing it back to me. Was it was something that really brought a lot of joy to me, and I don't feel like we often get the time to really do things that bring us joy very often, and it's something I really, really genuinely love. Memory keeping is really important to me. My grandma had Alzheimer's, and so when I was in my early 20s, it became important to start writing down my memories with her and scrapbooking them, and so I would have something after she passed. And so it was like this kind of thing became a very zen thing for me, because it was a way to capture a moment and a feeling. And sometimes that can be through paper color choice, or there's just so many different things that this brings out for me. So I genuinely have a passion for it and a love for it for a variety of reasons, but that's a big one in case you wanted to know a little bit about me and why I enjoy scrapbooking so much. I'll put that one there. And then I'm probably going to put a little flower on top of that. So you can see this doesn't take very long. I'm just playing around. I've got some of my rose gold flowers. I'm just putting here and there and tucking in. I do like to start with the bigger florals just because I like to kind of see where I can tuck in other bits of color. It's just fun. But this one doesn't want to come apart. Put this down here. I like to spread out the color tones so that you get a little bit of change throughout. I'm going to put this with the darker, so I like to create contrast with the different colors. We're going to put some of these rose gold ones over here. I feel like we need a little bit of a rose gold pop right there. We'll put this one up here. Actually, I'm going to change this out and put that one there, that there, and we'll change this one. So like I said, no rhyme or reason. Do what makes you happy. I genuinely am just kind of playing as I go. Now what I'm going to do is, now that I've kind of found where I like everything to be, now I will start to glue things in. And if you don't want a lot of like height, because you've already added some with the foam tape, so you might not want, or not foam tape, the sculpting, so you might not want to add foam tape. I'm not going to use foam tape today, but on some of these, if you wanted more of a dimensional look, you could absolutely add foam tape. So I'm gonna put just a little bit of express glue on my multimedia mat, and then I've got these dual action tweezers, or I've got our fine tip tweezers. I'm gonna actually use the fine tip just because of how I wanna grab the papers today. And I'm gonna start here at the bottom and just start to add glue to everything. So what I do is I just dab it in there, and then I dab it off, and then I'll lay it in place. And I'm going to do that for every piece. I'm just going to dab and layer. And you'll find like some of these pieces, like these smaller ones, these tweezers are the perfect thing for those small pieces. And you really don't need a lot of glue with paper or cardstock to get them all to layer down. And I know it is probably mind-numbingly boring to watch me glue, so I'm going to do this as fast as I possibly can so you get the end result. And I'll just I only like to start with a little bit of glue, so then I don't overuse. I like to save my I like to save my resources as much as I can. So you will notice I will just keep adding glue rather than wasting it. Also, anytime I see something's layered or tucked under, I start with that first, and then I'll go back and I'll add in the other flower on top. Add some more glue. Now you could absolutely, like I was saying, if you want like to pop things up, you can use foam tape. I just want this to go quickly, so I am not going to do that today because you would be sitting here with me for forever if we did that. So already got all the bottom half done. Just going to keep going up. And then typically for me, I'd probably do my journaling right here, or probably up and over here, just to create like a nice kind of viewpoint of keeping this all plain. Or I might have done some mixed media over here in little spots just to just add some differentiation in the background. I love going online and watching layout tutorials. I think that's I love always having them on the background when I'm crafting, mostly because I love just listening to the people who do them. They have the best stories. So that's one of my favorite things to do, is just to listen to people talk while they make. There's something really nice about it. Not that I'm saying that is for me. I might be boring some of you, but if you do enjoy talking tutorials, please let me know, because maybe we can be doing more of those. It really depends on what you all want to see. So the fact that I pre-cut these and now I'm just going through and adding just literally a little bit of glue and then adhering them into place, you can see how quickly a layout can come together. And I'm obviously rushing this a little bit just because I'm filming, but if I were doing this at home, I would probably spend a little bit more time with this layout and really figure out like, oh, do I like where my colors are the most? Should I group my flowers a little bit differently? But I am pretty content with where this is going so far. You might go back in and add some gems into the middle of the flowers, maybe some glitter centers, just to give a little bling. You could also go in and add some foliage, because obviously this die set comes with the foliage. I also wanted to point out, sometimes you can get a beautiful layout from just one die set. So everything on here is from Pass the Bouquet. So I'm just using one die set from the pack to kind of get the look that I want. And that's one of my favorite things to do, is to find a way just to use one die set and create like a really fun background. You could do this tone on tone if you did like a monochromatic. If you have like a black and white picture, you could do this with like pick two colors and then just do tone on tone flowers, do a whole background, literally just cut them all out in the same color and paste them down flat. And then do more on top of that in different colors. That would look so beautiful. You could do that for a card as well, or a journaling page, whatever you might be using it for. I love tone on tone. It's not something I do very often, but whenever I see it, it is such a wow factor. We're almost done. Thank you for bearing with me if you've made it this far. And like I said, I do have another video I did a couple weeks ago when we launched the box, where I've got a bunch of different other ideas using these same dies from this die set and different ways. And those are all cards, but cards are just basically like mini scrapbook pages. So if you're a memory keeper or someone who likes to create memory pages for home decor, or you like doing mixed media journals, the ideas in there should give you plenty to run with. And you can also check out the hashtag #MyMakingStory. I know we encourage people to use that a lot for their makes. So hopefully other people have shared what they've been doing with this month's craft box if you need a little bit more inspiration. Okay. So that is that page all set. Everything's glued down. As you can see, we've got a lot of different florals on there. And like I said, if I had more time, I'd probably fill this in even more full, but I think you get the idea of where I'm going. I would take a ruler then, add some lines in here or over here, have my journaling. I'd add probably like a sentiment up here that said Hawaii or Maui or something like that, just to give it its place in the world. But I'm gonna switch back up to my front-facing camera. Okay, so I hope you had fun with that make-along. I hope it wasn't too long for y'all. But this month's craft box is available on our website right now, so head on over there and check it out. If you do plan on getting the embossing powder, remember to use the code EMBOSS30 and you can get a lovely embossing powder that you maybe have had your eye on. I would highly recommend our metallics. They are stunning, but we also have like some new colors that came out, so you could check those out too. I use this for memory keeping today, but you can absolutely scale this down and use it for a card. You could scale it up and use it for something even bigger if you wanted to. The choice is all yours. I hope you had fun. I will talk to you again soon. Thanks so much for joining me, and I hope you have a great rest of your day.